I wanted to talk about the shift. Everybody been hearing that word lately? The shift?
The axis shift?
The shift, yeah. You can call it an access shift or
Axis.
a uh,
The shift of the axis.
right,
The
yeah,
Earth's axis.
right, yeah. And so, when I hear that word, first thing people think is if the axis shift AXIS, then everything turns upside down, right? That's your first thought. And so what I'm learning now is that the Earth doesn't shift, but the grid shifts, the magnetic grid shifts. So the Earth still stays the same orientation, but the magnetics or the grid is what will shift. And so I'm going to take that one around with that one versus the other kind. But listening to Cryon for quite a long time, so and he'd been talking about that for at least 20 years ago, at least. And so that's what I feel is happening. And then also, I think what will happen is I'm going to talk some computer terms, as I always do. You can look at it as a reboot, right? We actually came with lots of gifts and tools and stuff. And along the way, lots of stuff got clogged by what we're taught and what we're told and what we see and all that. And so a reboot will shut everything off. And then when it comes back on, then you're at your basic level with all the stuff you actually came with in the beginning, all your spiritual tools, all your healing tools and all that. And so I think that I'm going to go for that case as well. And so I think that's what is going to happen. So then you will have incorporated or remembered all your other cells, as they call it, the other parts of you that are not in your body or outside your body. And so you'll still have access to all of those. So now what you'll start seeing again, and I'm seeing it already, you'll see more psychic shows. You'll see more ghost story shows. You'll see more shows about mediums. All right, and so that's what is, and so pretty much we're already in transition. People just don't see it, right? And so you're shifting perspectives. You're shifting really the way you look at things one way versus looking at it another way. Right now, the way we look at it as 1 on 1 equals 2. And the other perspective is that 1 on 1 never equal 2. Because if I'm the one, I have my soul family, guides, gatekeepers, entourage with me, so I'm not even 1. And if I'm talking to somebody else, they have that same setup as well, so 1 on 1 never equal 2. And so we're looking at the same thing, that's just a different perspective. So watch for things like that, and then at some point, everybody will be able to have access to their gifts. Every single human being will have access to something that's already there that we never hear about, right? Us in our little group, we hear about it because that's all we ever talk about. But some people I know never even hear about that kind of stuff, right? Because they always go to somebody else to get healing. They go to somebody else to complain. They never go inside. And so I think a big thing that we'll have to start doing is, I started doing this as well, is that you have, everything you say, you have to end with inside of me. Like, God is inside of me. Right? I started with like the Lord's Prayer. The Lord is my, that's Psalm 23. Our Father, who art in heaven, inside of me. Because all that stuff is inside of us. And so once we realize that, once we keep saying that over and over and over and over and over, then you're gonna start seeing that over and over and over. We don't say it, so now we don't see it. Or we watch other people who don't say it, so we really don't see it. And so this shift from one dimension to the next is just a matter of the way you look at it. So say we're in the fifth dimension right now. And you keep thinking that if I go out, I'm going to get hit with a car, then you can't even see that you're in fifth dimension. Because that's like a third dimensional thought. Right? And so we have to switch the way we start thinking. That's the only difference in what we're calling ascension or this shift. Just the way you look at things, it'll be different. You'll see more. You'll realize more things. First, you have to see all this stuff in yourself. You have to see that you have this family that rolls with you no matter where you go. Always, never left you. Always. Everybody has to do that. You have to see I have this connection to everything. And then once we start thinking that more and more, then we'll start seeing it more and more. I'm seeing it, but because I think that way. Right? So just for current events is everybody was scared for a few weeks there, weren't we? So to me, that is a third dimensional thought or event, right? Because I looked at it, and it's good to be scared for a minute, and then realize, oh, that doesn't do me any good. Because if I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be joyous, right? I can't be thinking negative thoughts. I cannot be. If I want to stay in a positive place, I can't harbor those kind of thoughts. I'm not saying that things don't happen. I'm saying when I looked at it, I was scared for a minute, but then it's like I got a phone call that says, hey, stay home until 10 a.m. in the morning. Right? I'm already driving, so it's like, well, I'm not turning around. You know, so it's like if today is my day, today's my day. You have to keep a positive attitude about all of it versus running in fear is your worst enemy for all of us, because it takes you away from what's happening right now. It was like the bombing was happening in every minute, everywhere, all over the world, and it wasn't. It happened in 6 or 7 places, but when we start grinding it over and over and over, it's almost like it's happening in my house, it's happening next door to me. So I'm not moving. I'm not saying to be safe. I'm just saying when you keep thinking these things, you keep rolling them over and over and over, and then this energy of fear grows out of you. And then once it goes out, it has a tendency to attract things just like it, thoughts just like it. So when you think about the bombing, what you think about the last one, you think about all the other school shootings, you think about wars. So we're going back and dragging stuff into what's happening right now. So I'm saying it's okay to be scared for a minute, but then you got to realize that fear does me no good. If I say what I want to be happy, I want everybody to be safe. Fear doesn't help. Right? So fear is one of those things we just gotta use it. It's like a tool. Okay, what was that about? Am I going to the edge? Okay, let me readjust. And you move off of the fear thing. So it's helpful. It's helpful, but it is not supposed to rule what we do or say. And then once we start saying it, then we call the neighbor, hey, did you see that? And then so we're all setting up this big ball of energy that doesn't do us any good if you want to be on a certain path. So I'm just saying, so all these things you just got to watch. And then at some point, if something comes up, it comes up so that we can fix it. That's the reason it comes up. So we're neglecting our children. We already know that. So we need to revisit that. If we were doing what we're supposed to do with children and such, those things wouldn't happen. Like we want to leave people behind or whatever it is. So if something comes up, it comes up so that, we need to deal with this. And things come up on an individual level, and things come up on like a group consciousness level. Because we all keep thinking the same thing, and so that's how we got to start with the way we think about these things. Okay, so I'll entertain a question. Anybody have any questions about anything right now? Oh, I can.
Right at the beginning, people felt like everything's going to be upside down because that axis it changed, and you're upside down now. Possibly, you don't really know which way you are. And
Yeah, I think what we do is we look for things in the past and say, okay, and tag it and say, okay, that's what's going to happen now. And then we kind of create that past thing into this right now moment. Because we keep thinking about it. We keep thinking about it. Right? So at some point, I'm sure that there were shifts in the physical planet. And as we are connected to all the information, we have a feeling of that. Somewhere in the back of our heads, spiritually, we know that. So we can pick that up. But it doesn't mean that if it happens then, it's going to happen now. What happens yesterday doesn't necessarily have to happen today. Right? Because that's how sickness goes on. That's how we carry it on. Because, okay, my dad died of cancer, so I have that tendency. And so I'm saying I do, and so I'm bringing that energy to me, or something like that. And so we keep carrying everything over. But because it happened yesterday, doesn't mean it have to happen today. But if at some point I stopped having accidents because I thought, okay, I can take the lesson, but not the drama and the accident. And at some point that happened. But I just had to start thinking that way. And so I could have said, I had an accident right up here, and I'm gonna have another one down here. Just because it happened then doesn't mean it have to happen now. We just have to say this new moment is fresh, and this is this fifth dimensional thinking. Every moment is fresh, every moment is new, and every moment we get to redo the same thing, or we can switch it up. Every single moment we have to do that. It takes getting used to. Before like the law of attraction, it take me, 10, 15 years so where I would be like, okay, I'm thinking that way. Didn't happen overnight. But it takes practice. You got to start somewhere right now and then keep focusing on right now, even if it's the next moment or the next day. And then after a while, you realize, I am that I wanted to be. So it's just repetition. We pull it in. We're that powerful that we keep pulling stuff in, and we don't realize how powerful we are. How everything we touch, we give it energy. Or sometimes, if you just look at something, you're giving it energy, even though you're not saying a word. By just being the observer, you're giving energy to that thing and making it something a little different. Because we're all creating this thing together, right? We're all creating together. Everybody, what you see is all of us are saying this building is here. Today is Sunday. My name is Cledston. We're all saying those things, and then here we are. So all this stuff is co-creation. Like, I had to say that I was part of the bomber because I'm part of the whole deal, the whole consciousness deal. I'm part of that. But you know what? My next thought is, How are we going to make the next moment better for him and for everybody else? It came up, so let me deal with it. That's the way. So that's that fifth dimensional thinking. You're thinking outside the box. And so the last thing I want to talk about is about tools, and all these are things I'm always going through. So, and Mom used to always say this: you don't need those tools, you don't need those crystals, you don't need anything. So now I have to give up my tools. So it's a stretch because I've been collecting tools forever, right? Spiritual tools. Books, minerals, crystals, all kinds of stuff, because they have energy. And I use that energy in healing, myself and others, and just, healing just the earth and where I live or whatever it is. So now I'm told that every time I bring a tool close to me, I take that part, I say to myself, I don't have that. I can't do what this tool is doing. And, of course, my world is shook because it's true. Whatever the crystals have, whatever the earth has, whatever the planets have, I have it. Whatever God can do, I can do it because I'm made in that image. And so you need nothing but what you have to make change to yourself, to heal yourself. And I can only do this for myself. Everybody will have to make that decision and make that life change, right? And so it will take me a little bit to get rid of my tools, but I have to realize, yes, I can do whatever the tools can do. I can close my eyes and I can do that. And everybody can do that, not just me. So it's like, to me, it's like I'm using this ladder and I get to this point and I still want to drag the ladder with me. Whereas it's like, I need to leave the ladder and I got to this level, off I go. And we all have to do that. We all have to do that. Again, it'll take me a while because I got tools on me right now. But we just need to understand the tools have energy, and then we have energy, all inclusive. Because we keep seeing we're made in the image of God, right? Everybody can say yes. And so we need to think that. And that's just another shift in perspective of how you think about things. You don't have to go somewhere to meet God anymore. Because God is inside of you. I'm not saying don't go to church because the more they gather and we have the same thinking pattern, then the more energy create and stuff goes out. So it's always good to gather. But it's good to understand why we're gathering. Right? That's why they say sometimes 10 people who are all connected are more powerful than a million people who are not and doing stuff. And so that's about tools. And so I can share a lot more, but any questions that will get me going? Yes.
I've been working through some stuff to try to get the energy vampires out from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can deal with my own energies
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that I may have made some breakthrough, but in the process, I feel that one of my friends that I thought, even though no outward physical attention, that they're doing it, their energetic level is
Mhm.
sucking me dry.
Mhm.
And I think when I finally was able to at least some part disconnect from that energy vampireness,
Mhm.
their demeanor changed, and now they're not so friendly.
Right.
So I'm wondering how do I combat that? It's like, how do I disconnect from people but yet not
So,
I've had their demeanor change towards me.
so when I started doing all this spiritual work, a lot of people just fade away. Because when I say I'm going to go read this book and I'm going to go meditate, and you don't want to, then that's cool. I'm going. Right? So, and I had to stick to my guns. Right? Because you don't have to bring them along. You don't have to bring anybody along. You have to get yourself in a place where you feel good, and you can get your information directly about what you need to do. And then those that are really your friends will like you no matter which version of you there is. And the other people that don't, then they fell away from me. They don't call, they don't come by. If they call and say, hey, I'm broke, I may go give them a lift. But when I start doing my stuff and my energy bills, then if you're not in line with that, you're going to fall away. So what if you change your idea about this person and kept them close and they did it again? So the first was a warning. Oh, something is different. So you don't have to have anybody. You may have to have friends to help you do this and that, but when you say friends come with unconditional support. When I say I like you, I don't like you because you pick me up. I just like you. I'm your friend because I'm your friend, not because you come hang out. Because I had friends like that. They come hang out, and then they didn't come hang out no more. It's like, oh, so you just hung out for a certain reason. You were getting some kind of energy from me. And now that I'm not giving you that, then, those people should fall away. Is that really your friend? Then is your question, is that really my friend? Are you really my friend? Or you're my friend with conditions? You are the most important thing to you. And they're the most important thing to them. And they're doing what they know. You need to do what you know is going to work for you. Right? Everybody's not into this taking responsibility for their own stuff and let me work through it. Everybody's not out for that yet. But once you get that way and you're secure in that, then they either come along or they don't. Right? They can't move you once you say, I'm going to be happy today. I don't care what you say. You got to stick to your guns of this is working for me. This is what makes me happy. I feel good. You got to stick with that despite what's happening in the rivers around you. Right? Some people come, some people go. Maybe you'll get to your place where I'll talk about the light. You'll get to your place where your light is shining. And then later on, they're like, how did she do that? Let me go ask. So you have to shine your light. No matter. You have to shine your light. And I was going to talk about this too. I'm glad it came up. So when you turn your light on or you brighten up, the darkness just kind of goes away. Like it wasn't there. Like I don't go like, let me click the dark switch, turn on the dark. All you got to do is shine your light as best you can, and then all that darkness will move away by default.
Well, I'm also looking at the aspect that if you, say, turn on your flashlight, whatever, and there's people in the darkness that don't want the light, do whatever they can to make you turn your light off.
But so nobody can turn your light off but you. You can say, okay, I'm shining my light. I'm doing my meditation. I'm going to read my book. And once you really believe that, they will just pass you by. Because the vibe ain't the same. They poke you because they poked you before and you moved. And you giggle. So then they're going to poke you some more. But once you get to your place, they can poke you. They can hit you with a hammer. You're going to be, this is what I need to do. And then the easiest path for them is to go find somebody else who they can do that to. So you just gotta, when you believe it enough, it won't happen. When you like, this is me, this is what I'm doing, and then stuff will start working for you. The poking will be like, it'll make you look, and then you're off your goal, your path. So it's attached to, it's like, okay, they're going to poke you until you decide enough is enough. So you got to decide when enough is enough. You know, it's just practice. It's just practice. And God, most of the time, nobody's going with you besides your spirit family. You know, you're riding alone. And then people will be like, how did you get that? I want some of that. And you stay your course, and they either come along and get some direction, their own direction, or they just go where they need to go and get what they need to get. Make sense? It's work. Everything is work. Fawn, any questions from you today?
Oh, it's just.
I can see you. I can see the wheels going.
I was thinking earlier about, so when we're focusing on the moment
Mm-hmm.
instead of the moment that happened before,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that that's not to say that looking at the things that have happened is a bad thing.
Correct.
Because the difference is that when we just ruminate on what happened without taking it and going, okay, what can I do to learn from this and take that information in and then put that information out, because it's all an energy exchange,
Mm-hmm.
to where I don't repeat the cycle.
Mhm.
Even if the things that have happened to us have
Mhm.
happened to us,
Mhm.
we've always played a role because
Yeah.
of the energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you were saying, I am also the bomber.
Mm-hmm.
When I read about him, I did not feel separate from him. I felt some empathy and concern for the place that put him, the place that he was standing in
Right.
at that moment. And I felt empathy for his parents, for his family, for people who are going to be befuddled.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, but when people have done things to us that are absolutely awful,
Mm-hmm.
I've started looking at it as, instead of and trying to wonder why they did it, right? How could that happen?
Mm-hmm.
I've started looking at it as, this person made an incredible sacrifice for me.
So you have to know that.
Because they made a commitment to
You guys did that
yeah,
together.
exactly. Right.
That's
So we
like,
made an agreement before we
Right,
that
yeah.
he or she
Right.
whatever
right,
would have this karmic debt for me.
right,
Right? So I could learn from this.
yes.
So instead of saying the guy who kidnapped, raped, and almost murdered me is an awful person, no, he actually gave me one of the hugest sacrifices that could be done.
So you're
That's a
showing,
huge
right?
switch for me.
You can take that. You've taken it in a good place. You can take
Yeah.
that 2 different places.
Absolutely.
You just got to choose what's best for you,
Right.
and then you got to realize that everybody does the best they can at that time. Even my parents, they did the best they can with what they could at that time. Everybody does that, and so everything is orchestrated from a spiritual, from your soul level.
Right.
And so we could sit down here on a physical level and try to figure it out, which means we're taking our energy from right now. I want to figure it out. I want to figure it out. I want to figure it out. Whereas the moment to create goes by, and we keep repeating the same thing because we keep thinking the same thing.
But it's about acceptance. Okay, so
It's about learning. There's something we learned. He learned something, whatever it is. He learned something. You learned something. You grew. That will never happen to you again because you know that energy right away. And who best to teach that to somebody else than you who's been through it,
Right.
right? So to me, there was lots of learning going on. Again, you do your learning, whether that other person did that or not,
It's not
you
my
know,
concern.
that's not yours. You're going to do yours, and you're going to help people going through that situation going forward forevermore.
And it doesn't mean that you have to shut the door on it, or
You can
there's
shut
a
the door.
difference of
Yeah.
looking at it and learning from it,
Yeah,
and or staying in a cycle.
yeah.
Um,
You can't shut the door. You
No.
can't separate yourself from anything that's ever happened to you. You just can change the way you look at it.
that's what I mean by acceptance, right?
Right. You have to
Accepting
look at it.
myself now.
Yeah, right. And people were like, well, I'm a bad person. No, I had a problem too. I went to an AA meeting with a friend a long time ago, and it rubbed me wrong because the first thing they were saying is that you're always this. You are an alcoholic forever. And that rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't go back, and I went a different way. But it's like, no, I may be alcoholic now, but tomorrow I may break out of it. So you're not that forever. And once you keep thinking that, then you keep thinking that, but that's not really the way it is. That's what you keep thinking, but that's not the way it is.
It's about perspective.
But yeah, respect, and first of all this stuff, you got to start with yourself. Respect yourself. You got to be happy, no matter what. You got to be joyous no matter what. Here first. Otherwise, how will you recognize it in somebody else?
I know for personal experience that if something keeps showing up in my life over and over and over, well, there is the same person or different people doing the same behavior, that doesn't mean that they're bad people.
Right,
That means I have something to learn.
right,
And it's gonna keep on going,
Right.
whether I learn or not.
right,
Is what's going to make the difference.
right.
In other words, if I don't want to do the work, I'm gonna get the same thing.
Yeah, you'll do the work sooner or later, whether it's a tap or it's a bulldozer.
So hopefully one day.
Yeah, and it's not good or bad.
Yeah.
The event comes up so you can look at it
It's a lesson.
and say, how can I learn from this? How can I use this to go forward? How can I use this as a jumping stone to the next moment?
And I'm saying, from my own experience, I've seen that.
Yes, we all should see that,
For example,
right? I saw that.
Rescuing,
Mm-hmm.
the rescuing.
Yeah.
Of,
Yeah,
you know,
I did that for a while.
I
Yeah.
did it and did it and did it, and then it was like no.
Right. So you have to say,
It became obvious that was a never-ending thing.
Right.
Unless I realized.
unless you step off the wheel of that event,
Yeah.
you
It's
know.
like the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
It just goes on and
Yeah.
on and on and on.
Yeah,
And it's not them.
yeah. No, if who's the common denominator in all your issues?
Me.
Me. I was it, and then I realized, oh, okay, it's me causing these things, or attracting these things, or seeing these things, and then once I start fixing me, then it looked like everything changed, but really just my perspective changed. Everything else,
Yep.
it's like when I bought my nitro, I didn't see any at all. Before I bought it, I didn't see any. Once I bought it, I started seeing them everywhere. Were they there before? Yeah, but I just wasn't focused on them.
Right.
My perspective wasn't on that. So that's how you got to fix all your stuff. It's me. I don't care if it happens across the way. It's like, okay, I would never do that. What I would do is, then this is what I want to build and grow and love and heal. And you take that moment that everybody else is going to call a terrorist attack, and you make something positive out of it. But what we're doing now, we're taking that event, and again, like when I walk outside, I can almost feel everybody's talking about it. Like if it was happened everywhere, but it only happened a few places. And so it's like, okay, let me flip the switch here. And that's what you got to do with all the negative things you see. Even if you watch the news, sometimes I hated watching the news until I realized I could watch the news and I can take that event and I can flip it positive for me. And if I can't do that, I flip the switch and go somewhere else and watch something else. You know, so you're getting all these things coming in, and you just got to be discerning and decide, does that work for me or not? It's not right or wrong. Does it work for me? Does it make me feel good? Does it make me want to go more? Does it make me get out of bed? Okay, cool, I'm going to do it. Does it make me feel like I want to jump off a bridge? Then, okay, I'm not dealing with that. Let me flip it. For every case, you got to do that. Because really, you can't even fix the event you're looking at.
Well,
You can't do anything to the event. Pretty much the event is gone, so you can't make any change to it. So you just got to focus on this now moment and what you bring into it.
well, you can make it about yourself or not by making that choice. If you choose
Yeah.
not to buy into
Yeah.
the whole thing, then
It is about yourself, though. Everything is. No matter where it happens over in Iraq, or it's about you.
but you have a choice.
In every moment.
You take it
In every
or
moment.
not.
Or you can, at some point, we're here to take it in and diffuse it, and when it comes out, it's something better. That's what we are here to do. As human beings with a connection to spirit,
Or what?
our job is to let the energy come in and not repeat it, and we can switch it and then switch it and make it so that everybody else can feel something different. Yes.
So on the subject of tools
Hmm.
and letting go of tools that you don't need them, right? Can we just look at it as we are the tools of a higher power?
You are the tool. You
Yeah.
are it. You are it.
And these things that we have, these
Mhm.
little things, like
Mhm.
these things,
Hmm.
um,
They're helpful.
well, instead of looking at it as I'm using something to replace or like to fill up for the thing that I think I don't have,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Instead of looking at that, just switch your perspective a little bit and say, I get to
Right.
see this beautiful thing and take its energy in.
Right.
But I don't need it to because
Right.
I am the
You get to play with it. It's a tool. It's beautiful. It's Mother Earth. It has good color. I like the way it feels.
Maybe
It
it's
stores
a reminder
energy.
for
It does all those things. But again, you do all those things too.
So we don't have to get rid of our tools, see?
So you don't have
We
to
just
get rid of your
switch our
tools.
perspective.
My perspective of it is different. Again, because I got problems getting rid of them.
I don't
But
wanna get rid of my tools.
you know what I use them for because when I put my tool next to somebody, my tool has energy, that person has energy, and the tool will help that person momentarily until they move away and go back to the old thinking and stuff. So the tools are good. You need the tools, but at some point, you don't need the tools.
It's funny that you mentioned that, we have what they have,
Hmm.
because it is that what calls me to them. That
Yeah,
I have
right.
what they have.
So they're reminding you of who you are, everything else. The tools,
For me,
the people.
I can go to Nature Treasures, and I don't want everything. I'm just drawn to
Right.
certain things.
It's the energy.
And I
So
like
they're pinging you. They're like, yo, hello, and so that you can be like, oh, I hear you, and then you'll start hearing your own things.
Yes.
So they're just reminders of,
Like,
hey, because so what? So aren't you a crystal? You're full of water. Aren't you 75% water? Isn't water crystal? So you're a part of that. So it's like your sister is saying, hey, don't forget me, or don't forget you, or don't forget our connection. So the tools are good. Again, when you were born as a little girl or boy, you have everything you need to create universes.
We are unified.
Because we don't boil stuff on them at that point.
yeah.
Right? So, yes, I am the tool. Yes, I am the tool. And I got that way because these tools showed me I am the tool.
But you know, it is a strong connection.
It is. We're made of the same thing. Are we made of earth? Yes. Are they made of earth? Yes. So on some level, we know what they know. And so so all this shift, the stuff that's shifting and the energetics, they know, and we are thinking we don't know, and we're getting reminded.
Even the trees
You know?
know.
That's why even animals know. When the animals hear the thunderstorm, what do? They go and hide in. What do? We go out and look. Oh, look how pretty it is. Just saying. All right. So I'm going to jump off here, and then I'll take whatever challenge comes.